let's just say, I don't know, Tom back there, let's say he owes me 20 pounds. And you know how it is with students. They got tons of money, so it's not a problem when they borrow money because they can pay it back very quickly, right? And let's say Tom owes me 20 quid. I'm on my visit to Bath University, and I'm walking up the parade there, and Tom sees me coming. And he goes, oh, right, I owe him 20 quid. Oh, I left all my money and my overdraft, and I don't have it today. And so he comes and he walks up and says, Pastor Wade, I don't have the money. I'm sorry, I'll pay you, second Tuesday of next week. And guys, come on, you guys got to be a little bit quicker than that one, all right? All right. But the thing is, I'll pay you next week. I'll pay you. I promise, I'll pay you. And his conscience now is beginning to get pricked because he knows he owes a debt, and what can't he do? He can't pay. He doesn't have what is necessary to pay the debt. And so what happens then? Next time I'm down there, he sees me walking up the parade, and then he sees me coming, and what does he do? Oh, I don't have it. And so, what's he going to do? Well, I know he'll probably come up to me and say, I'm sorry, I don't have it. I'll pay you next time. Next time. I would challenge that eventually his conscience would get so pricked that what would happen is that he'd see me coming, and what would be a potential, what might be the temptation that he would face to do? Avoid? Run away. Right? Hide. Take the nearest exit. Why? Because he has something he can't pay. Is it right for him to feel that way? Well, in one sense, yeah. He owes a debt. Truly owes a debt. And he can't pay it. Now, what would happen if I said, Tom, no problem, bro. I forgive you of the debt that you owe me. No problem. Tom, don't worry about the 20 quid. In fact, let's go out for a coffee. We're going to Starbucks. Go down, we get a coffee, we're having a conversation. I forgive you now, Tom. Don't worry about it, bro. You don't owe me the money anymore. And we're sitting there having a coffee, and I mentioned 20. I mentioned, pay any one of 100 words, and what's coming back to his mind? Why is he bringing it up again? He said he forgave me. Why is he bringing it up again? And what would that do to our relationship? It would pull it apart, it would destroy it. Now, I may not be mentioning anything. I'm not even thinking about the 20 quid anymore. But every time it's mentioned, anytime it's brought up, it could be anything like, money, 20, payment, teddy bears. Who knows? Like when he was a kid, a teddy bear cost 20 quid, and it's just bringing back to his mind. Everything's testifying against him in that way within. But let's say, right, Kingsley, because, he's another student, has lots of money, and he comes and says, he comes and says, listen, I'm going to pay it on Tom's behalf. Here's the 20 quid. So I take the 20 quid. Now I got the 20 quid. Tom's debt is paid. I would challenge you that I could talk with Tom. Tom, it's not a good idea to borrow money from people if you're not sure you can pay it back. He'd say, yeah, you're probably right. I could mention 20. You think it'd bother him anymore? No, it's paid. It's done. I could say to him, Tom, you remember when you owed me that 20 pounds? And you go like, yeah, so? It's paid. It's not a problem. It's done. And his conscience is free because the debt has been paid. Justice has been finished. Therefore, he's free from the consequence. You following? This is a very real thing. This is the way human beings function. Now let's come to the cross. The Bible says that here that Christ also suffered once for what? Sins. Now, like I said before, is that we don't often realize or think we're all that bad. We're not really thinking that we're in a situation where we owe anything. Now, I want to remind you of something, that when it says that Christ died for sins, it seems that Peter's just kind of walking over it fairly quickly, but let's take a minute to unpack some of that. Do you know what the word sin means? Do you know what it is? And it's an old archery term. So, anybody ever done archery? No, okay. So, all right. You set up the bullseye thing with that thing that they shoot at, right? They're supposed to be shooting at anyway. And they set it up, and they got the rings around it, and then they got the red bullseye right there, and the guy's back here, and he's shooting at it. He pulls back the bow, and whoosh, lets it go, and it's aiming for the bullseye, and oh man, I missed it by that much. That's a sin. You missed the mark. Sin is missing the mark. It isn't just missing the mark as in, oh, I got that close. It could be like, all right, like I missed the mark. And I'm shooting in the wrong direction. If you miss the mark, it doesn't matter how far you miss it, you still miss the mark. If you don't pass that exam, you don't pass the exam. I know in our day they give lots of leeway in gray areas, but when you're outside of the box, it doesn't matter how far you're outside the box, you're outside the box. When we've broken God's law and we missed the mark, for all have sinned and fallen short, what? Of the glory of God. Do you know that that's God's standard for his creation? For you? That God would made you in such a way so that others would look at you and say, you know, he's truthful the way God's truthful. That reminds me of the way God is. You know, he's faithful, and he always does what he says he's going to do. And that reminds me of the way God is. You know, she's just or kind or gentle. That reminds me of the character of God. That's what it means to bring God glory. It reminds and points people to the one who made us, the one who's redeemed us. And so this design of God upon us, when we fall short of that, we don't always tell the truth, do we? We haven't. We've broken one of God's laws. Don't bear false witness. And we've fallen short of that. God says, be truthful. How often? All the time. Honey, does this look nice? Yeah. Gee, Grandma, I really did like those knitted socks you sent me. But we have categories. Where were you last night? Oh, I was over at so-and-so's house. Really? They phoned looking for you. We get caught. We tell things that aren't true. What does God say? Tell the truth when? All the time. All the time. We don't. We fall short of his glory. We miss the mark. Now, how do you think God feels about that? Let me point out something to you. Let's go to Proverbs 16. This is just one area, guys. Proverbs 16. Pardon me, Proverbs 6, verse 16. My mistake, I'm sorry. These 6 things the Lord what? What's it say? Hates. Now, I would challenge you, when God hates something, he hates it with the same intensity with which he loves something. He doesn't do anything halfway. The character of God is like that. He is infinite in every characteristic of his being. So when he says he hates it, he intensely hates it. It's not a sort of a halfway hate. Well, I just kind of don't like it. You know, it's like Marmite. You know, you either love it or you hate it, and I don't like it.